Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition, the week one edition of the OCVarsity Gridiron Show. Dan Albano back here with Steve Fryer as we look at an amazing week of games, Mr. Fryer. It is really exciting because we have a couple of out-of-state showdowns with national rankings at stake. And then there's several of these games also have this revenge element to them that I think is obviously fun. I do believe one of the biggest motivating factors in high school sports is the revenge factor. So there's a lot going on this week, some great matchups. How you doing, and how you feeling about week one coming up?
Well, it should be pretty good. We got some good games on here, some kind of tough ones to figure out, I think. Last week was fun. I was at that Orange Lutheran Sarah
Yes.
of Gardena game. And, Orange Lutheran's down 20-3 in the third quarter. And then that TJ Latif guy, that quarterback, that sophomore, I was thinking, who do you remind me of? I think kind of like Elijah Brown, like in terms of just very, great, good blocking, which Elijah Brown also gets at MD. Very calm, taking his time, picking it out. I go, this guy's a sophomore. It's how polished these young quarterbacks have been in the last several years. Bryce Young, JT Daniels, gosh, it just goes on and on how good these young kids, Elijah Brown, how good these young quarterbacks are, Malachi Nelson, on and on, just how good these young dudes are at running an offense. Pretty spectacular.
Well, that was pretty good. TJ's first start and first victory. And like you said, tough games to call. I somehow went 5-0 last week. I don't know how that happened, but I went 5-0 off to a fast start, and you were solid too, Mr. Fryer. You went 3-2. So I have a little bit of a lead on you early, but I think this, like you said, this week will test us. Let's jump right into it. Thursday night game is.
Dan, I'm getting a text from Marty Marino. He wants to know if I want to buy the team.
Okay.
Call me later, Marty. Thanks. Okay, go ahead.
I think you would be a better general manager. What do you think, general manager or owner?
I can barely sell peanuts.
How about maybe manager? Maybe you replace Phil Nevin, the pride of El Dorado.
No, way over my head, sir.
Go
ahead. Back to the topic, baby.
Thursday, it is going to be San Juan Hills at host Cypress. That game's going to be at Western High School, of course. This is a very close teams in the ranking. San Juan Hills 11th. Cypress is tied for 12th. And what's interesting about this matchup is not only did San Juan Hills play great last week defensively, only lost to Trinity League contender for third place, maybe Santa Margarita. They only lost 18-8, so they played great defense against a very high-powered Santa Margarita offense. But last year, Cypress stunned San Juan Hills. That's that revenge factor, 29-27 in overtime. And I think that was a big part of Centurion's breakout season, or another breakout season. They've been good for the last couple of years for sure, but they went on to the Division IV semifinals. Coach Feldman's coach of the year. This was a big part of it. This journey was a kind of a signal that Cypress was legit. We know this. Centurions, they have that dynamic duo of Matt Morrell and Trevor Montaloni, but Aiden Houston is looking very dynamic in his quarterback rotation. It looks like with Elliot Limanor, who also played very sharp. But this is, I think, a tough game to figure. Cypress is very good. They impressed against Foothill. No slouch in it to open up. And now they got to take on San Juan Hills. What's your read and your pick in this game, Fryer?
I'm going to go with San Juan Hills in this one, Dan. And I'll tell you why. I think, their defense played pretty well, holding Santa Margarita to the 18 points. Margarita also had 120-something yards and penalties as well. I think you were there. But I think Michael Butter Tollefson plays more smoothly. Sure. I think he plays more smoothly in this game. He doesn't have to worry about the Margarita defense. Cypress is really good. Monteleone, we loved that guy when we saw him last year. We and also during the summer. Matt Morrell, one of the better athletes running around and on a football field. But I think that San Juan Hills defense is a little bit of a different animal than Foothills. And I think that, a week of learning off of Margarita gives San Juan Hills an edge. I'm not a big fan of rotating quarterbacks in high school football, Dan. Dave Feldman knows 80,000 times more about football, just like Phil Nevin knows 80,000 times more than I do about baseball. But, I'm not a high schools, I just never, sometimes just don't see that flow good. I just don't like, I think if I'm in the huddle, it's a different voice coming in, different guy coming in, different scheme. I'm not sure as a high school guy, that's an easy thing to work around. Maybe with that higher levels, players can, but high school is kind of, I don't know if the guys are savvy enough to move from QB to QB. San Juan Hills is my pick.
Okay. Well, this was a tough game for me to pick because I like the role that Cypress is on. They are a confident group. They scrimmaged against Yorba Linda. I saw them against Yorba Linda, open with Foothill. But I wasn't really impressed with what San Juan Hills was able to do defensively, especially because I really respect that Santa Margarita skill set. And I think that's going to put them in good position when you face Nico Lopez and Emmett Mosley and a couple of those other skill players. You're probably ready for Matt Morrell and Trevor Montaloni and company. You saw Jackson Potter. So I'm also picking San Juan Hills to kind of get that revenge factor, but going to be a great game on Thursday night. All right, let's just jump right into these big games on Friday night. How about Mater Dei? Number 1 in Orange County, number 2 nationally to St. John Bosco, headed back to the desert, headed to Las Vegas to take on Bishop Gorman. Bishop Gorman is number 6 in the country. They've also won their opener just like the Monarchs. And this is going to be a really tough test for Mater Dei because Mater Dei, like you mentioned, Elijah Brown, there are a relatively young, they have a lot of juniors. They have a lot of even juniors and sophomores on defense, not many senior leaders on senior players on defense. And they're taking on a kind of it seems like a senior heavy or very talented senior led team in Bishop Gorman. And the number 1 guy they have is number 1 receiver in the country, Zachariah Branch, USC commit. He's the receiver that's going to go play with Malachi Nelson at USC and Makai Lemon at USC. He's the number 1 receiver in the country, but they have a lot of other commits, especially in the secondary. They have a Georgia commit, an Oregon commit, and the list kind of goes on. They have 3 players that are committed to Hawaii. These are all seniors. And then, speaking of that revenge factor, the last time Mater Dei went out to Las Vegas and took on Bishop Gorman, it was 2018, and Mater Dei won 42-0 and really embarrassed the host Gales. They're not used to losing at home 42-0, even if it is against Mater Dei. I mean, this is a team that's got a couple national titles on its resume, but I think Mater Dei is really going to be challenged hitting the road. As good as Mater Dei is, this could be, I think, be a pretty competitive game. How do you see it, Fryer?
Mater Dei last week, we talked about penalties, all the penalties Santa Margarita made. In the last few years, Mater Dei penalties have really hurt them, like school record numbers. Last week, they only got penalized 3 times for a handful of yards. Pretty nice. That's good. Turnovers were an issue. I think things were out of sync. As I understand, Elijah Brown, the quarterback, was looking like surveying the field, and then the snap comes to him. So things like that will get cleaned up for Mater Dei. They play good in challenging circumstances historically. I think that they'll, this is a tough one for me because Gorman is so senior led, so good. Gorman's at home, young guys on the road. But I think that Mater Dei is going to will have had a very good week of practice, and I think they're going to come home with a W. You're going with Gorman, aren't you?
No, I'm not going with Gorman. I'm going with Mater Dei. I'm predicting that the Monarchs win. Elijah Brown is going to improve to 19-0 as a starter. Don't look now, but the Monarchs have won 18 consecutive games. They are undefeated. No, I think they've won, 18 consecutive games. I think they're on a 17-18 game winning streak. They were undefeated last year, and then they were undefeated in the spring shortened season.
5-0 year, yeah.
So I think they're about 17 or 18 games. So I think, Oh, yeah, because then they won last week. So their winning streak is at 18 games as I struggle to do the math. So I'm predicting Elijah Brown to win, to remain undefeated, go 19-0. extend that winning streak. But it's going to be tough because how are the Monarchs going to contend with Branch? That's going to be a big matchup for Xavier Brown and some help. How are some of these under the radar but playing well receivers from Mater Dei? How are they stepping up against this loaded secondary? But the thing I think what gives Mater Dei the advantage, I'll pick in them, is because of that offensive line and the pressure they're able to play with, and that line of scrimmage. I think obviously the Monarchs pitching a shutout in the first game, and that offensive line is one of the best around. So I'm going to go with the Monarchs. All right.
One more thing about Mater Dei, running the ball really well. Ajon Bryant, etc. Man.
Yeah. It was actually Jordan Davison, sophomore, did quite well. And
he's got the two guys over there now, doesn't he, that can do it.
There's actually a third.
Davis was good last year too.
Yeah. The transfer Frazier from Pius Matthias did really well and really got into the mix last week. Ajon was pretty quiet, actually, but Elijah was working well with those new look receivers. So they're a hungry group, and they're going to be really challenged by a great secondary. So this is going to be a really good game. Fans can catch this game on the National Federation High School stream. I'm sure they'll be probably interested. Hey, how about Mission Viejo taking on Servite? Now, this is also a revenge game from last year. Now, we know the Friars dominated last year en route to their appearance in the Division I final. But this year, the Friars have already struggled in their opener, lost Rancho Cucamonga 27-7. And then you got Mission Viejo, who hasn't played since August 12th, but they opened up with a strong win against Milani, who's the number 2 ranked team in Hawaii. And it's really a contrast here too, Friars, that you got this Mission Viejo team that's kind of built with some seniors that have been hanging around for the last couple of years, building up for this big year, taking on a retooling and rebuilding Servite team. And this probably sounds really familiar to Servite, right? Because that's what they've had the last couple of years with their group that just went through, led by Tetsuo McMillan and Noah Fafita and Mason Graham. That was that group, that tight group that was building, finally had a great year. This is Mission Viejo, right? You got to have the Diablos in this one, right?
I do. This lines up pretty bad for Servite. They lost by 20 points. This looks like a rebuilding sort of year for the Servite guys. And Mission Viejo's, they won a game, came home. They had a bit of a flu bug that hit them out there. That's what I was told. It was a flu bug out in Hawaii, and they had to quarantine a couple of guys. So they weren't 100% healthy. Now they're home. They're probably healthier. That week off is going to help them as well. Playing at home. I'm going to be at this game. I think, with Caden Samanza, Mikey Matthews, all that senior Jackson Holman. I love that guy, man. That guy's they say the word baller. That's that guy. And so I like Mission Viejo to win this game, Dan.
Yeah, I'm also picking Mission Viejo. So we are agreed on 3 for 3. But while you're out there, look for, I think, that the positive for the Friars is that they're going to build, they're going to trust, they're hopefully going to trust the process. And, some guys will, they're playing a tough schedule once again, and there's some guys who are going to get better, and Servite will be back. But, they could be dropping 0-2 and then looking at trying to pick up their first win the following week when they take on La Mirada. All right.
Hey, one thing about Servite, Dan, they're going to play 100% from opening bell to final ticks of the clock. They're going to give Mission Viejo, Mission Viejo's not going to walk out of it with some bumps and bruises. Servite's going to bring it, but I think skill-wise and the way it's lined up, it's Mission Viejo.
Yeah. I think, I really like Mission Viejo's defense too. Mikey D'Amato, transfer from Soro, had 2 interceptions against Milani and a sack. Mission Viejo also got after the quarterback. I think they had 6 sacks in that game. So Servite at times against Rancho Cucamonga definitely, from some of the highlights I saw, struggled in the passing game. Some of their quarterbacks were also under duress. That's not good for that very active Mission Viejo defense. Hey, how about this one, Friar? Villa Park Orange. Now, again, with this revenge factor, kind of the battle for the city of, Villa Park Orange, are very neighboring communities there. But last year, Villa Park won 29-22. The year before, in the spring shortened COVID season, it was 25-16 in favor of the Panthers. So the Panthers are coming off a impressive win, I think, against a Pacifica team that was just rocked with their loss of their coach and Vinny Lopez. But Orange has got a freshman quarterback, Oscar Rios, who did well in his opener in that game, threw for 281 yards and 2 TDs. Of course, they got Mr. Boykin at running back at Orange, who actually went for 100 and 100 against Pacifica, 13 carries for 108 yards and a touchdown. Also had 6 catches for 104 yards. I really like Jonathan Smith, a wide receiver at Orange. So I think Orange has got a lot of speed and skill. And I think Villa Park is going to probably try to play physical and try to bring some of that Crestview toughness into this matchup. Who do you got in this one?
I go with Orange. And I'll tell you, I think the one thing we kind of didn't know too much about Orange, you knew about Jonathan Smith and Boykin, knew they're pretty good up front as well. But, the freshman quarterback coming in, the guy looked good. Yeah, it was against Pacifica that is still, trying to, get its feet under itself, right? But really like the way that the results came out of that game. Villa Park's, not one of their better teams the last several years. They're still going to play with some ferocity. They're going to play hard. They're going to, try and, hold down the fort and all those good things. But I think Orange has got too much skill for this. One thing Orange has got to do is the mental side of things. Sometimes we've seen it where a rival has been on top of the other rival for a long time. And Orange has got to realize, that that's not a mythical beast out there. This is a team they can play with and they can beat. And after the first couple of hits, and they feel, they know at the first 2 times bodies slamming each other, Orange is moving the football, controlling the line of scrimmage, doing those sorts of things that Orange needs to do. Then Orange has kind of settled down and maybe just stabs themselves and win this game. But again, it's side of that mental thing. They can't look at those Villa Park helmets come on the field and go, oh my gosh, it's those guys. I think Orange is going to be okay mentally, emotionally do that. And they're going to make a bunch of really joyful rides around the plaza, the circle, or whatever you're all calling it. It says plaza on the sign out front, but everybody calls it the circle. But I think there's going to be a joyful laps going around that thing. Okay.
I am also picking Orange. Villa Park did lose their opener. It was a close game. I think they played Silverado. But one of the things that was interesting about that game where, we can't discount the Spartans too much is Coach Ansich said that, in that narrow game where they lost by, I think, about 2 or 3 points, Spartans had 5 fumbles and 1 interception. They still were close. So, that Coach Ansich is going to try to really tighten that up this week and look for the Spartans to be much improved. So this could be I think will be a spirited game as always. Yes. It should be a good crowd at El Medina High School for this game. And we'll see how much the Spartans improve. But I am also picking Orange, who I think I have in the top 15 in Orange County as well. All right, so we have agreed on all 4 games, but will we agree on this final one, which is another dandy out-of-state game? How about some California versus Florida football? That's always a good one, right? California, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Los Alamitos playing on Saturday in a nationally ranked game against American Heritage from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This game's going to be on ESPN2, and you can catch it. You should be able to catch it live at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And so the Griffins, they're ranked 19th in the country by I think I got my rankings wrong. I think they are 25th in the country this week by Max Preps.
Right.
And 25th for the Griffins, 19 for American Heritage. We got to know all our national rankings this week, right, Fryer?
Yes, sir.
So now this American Heritage team is also very loaded. They have maybe the second best wide receiver. We said Bishop Gorman has the number 1 receiver. Well, maybe the number 2 guy in the country is this Brandon Ennis from American Heritage. He's committed to Ohio State, and they have a quarterback, Blake Murphy, who's committed to Louisiana Monroe. They got a lot of good secondary guys that are committed to as well. So they got an NC State commit, a Missouri commit. This is a really loaded team. And one of my concerns is I think Los Al is dynamic, as they showed. They played a really weak Garces team in their opener, 41-0 for the Griffins. But the thing is, what I'm wondering about with Los Al is if you look on the CIF Southern Section website for transfers, and you see that T.A. Cunningham and Damian Henderson, really their two of their top guys, are both listed under hardships and transfers. They're not eligible yet, didn't play last week. And but still, Los Al obviously pitched a shutout. But I think that's they're not exactly at full strength, and I kind of feel going cross country against a nationally ranked team with some really good seniors and a top wideouts going to test Los Alamitos, especially with some of their two-way guys. Like, who are they going to put on Brandon Innes? They're going to have to probably play Mekhi Lemon both ways, Ethan O'Connor both ways. But how do you see this game, Fryer?
Yeah, I don't like that cross-country trip against a great team like American Heritage. From what I've read and what you're talking about, American Heritage sounds like a set of encyclopedias or really good milk.
It's quite a contrast there.
Thank you. But anyway, so I think that going out there without Cunningham, et cetera, is going to be a tough one. You're going out to Florida, it's going to be tough. A little bit different situation for Los Al. As much as I like Los Al this year, if they get in Division II in the playoffs, they're going to win that thing, I think, right? But this may be too tough a task for Los Al. I love Malachi Nelson. Offensive Player of the Year for us, maybe, huh? But I like the American Heritage team to come out with a W. I think it'd be so cool if Los Al comes home with a win, but I'm leaning toward those Florida boys a little bit.
Okay. Well, and I was leaning toward them too, but it was really getting, I'm thinking to myself, am I really going to pick against Malachi Nelson on an ESPN game? How good is this kid? I think, their defense is kind of coming along, improved. I think that Garces game was kind of a smokescreen. I think Garces is pretty weak. Los Al didn't show a lot. Mekhi Lemon didn't even have a touchdown reception in that game. So I'm gonna roll the dice and think that T.A. Cunningham, who is a transfer from Georgia down south, is going to get eligible. Damian Henderson's going to get eligible, and the Griffins are going to be full strength, and they are going to impress in their big showdown on national TV. So that's what I'm picking. I'm picking Los Al, and you got American Heritage. We only disagree on one game, Mr. Fryer.
Yeah, I don't like going with Florida on anything, but here I am.
There you go. You're putting it on American Heritage, but hey, they're ranked a little bit higher.
Disneyland's better than theirs.
Okay.
Disneyland's better than theirs. Heck yeah. Of course, they got water parks and stuff out there, but I'm very provincial.
Well, it is going to be a great week of football. There's a lot of other matches. Tustin Foothill, you got out there. Jay Sarah Chaminade. You got St. John Bosco from the Trinity League taking on Allen, Texas. And the list goes on. There's a lot of really good games. So week 1 is going to be exciting. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching this video, and thank you for making your picks, Mr. Fryer.
Yes, sir. Wish me luck. I need it.
All right, guys. We'll see you at the games once again. And be sure to say hello. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, and check out all our coverage this week on OCVarsity.